Good morning, everyone. We ring our peace bowl this morning in joy. In Davis Hall, just on the other side of this office, people are gathered to join our service, many of them joining a service for the first time in a year and a half. I am so appreciative to all of you, especially today also, we affirm our collective hope for peace, and we acknowledge that these lands that we love are the ancestral lands of the Yavapai people, the Wipukepas, the Tolkepayas, the Quevkepayas, and the Yavapais. This is the time when Jewish communities all over the world are preparing for Rosh Hashanah, a new beginning, a new year. Let us listen to what is Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah is one of my favorite days of the whole year. It's a holiday on the Jewish calendar that begins usually around the fall months, where you blow shofar, this ram's horn, and you make a sound punctuating the year, saying, we're going to begin again. And it is full of traditions and full of family, meals, and spending time together in community. Rosh Hashanah really stands out in the Jewish calendar as a uniquely, not exclusively Jewish holiday. This is a moment where Jews and non-Jews can really come together. It's an invitation to come together as community way beyond any one of our tribes. Rosh Hashanah is actually a two-day holiday, and I take from that I have so much to celebrate and actually so much to let go of from the year that just ended that it takes some time. The most common way that people observe Rosh Hashanah doesn't happen in the synagogue, it happens at home. And the meal right before the holiday begins is the gathering of friends and family, and there are various traditions, including taking pieces of an apple and dipping it in honey and saying, may the year be sweet like this. I remember as a young child, I'm actually allergic to apples, and so the tradition of dipping an apple into honey was one that I just couldn't do. And so eventually we started finding a new fruit, a fruit we'd never tried before. And so it was always exciting to find, what does the fruit look like? How do I prepare it? Does it taste good in the end at all? I remember as a child just feeling so excited about it every year. As a parent now, I really hope that my children are experiencing it not as an allergic reaction, but as an exploration, as something to discover. Even though it's an ancient tradition, it's never the same when you do it right. The greeting for Rosh Hashanah, if you see someone who's in that zone, is you say, Shana Tova, may it be a good year. The extended version of that is Lishana Tova Tikatevu V'Techatemu. May you be written and inscribed for a good year, because one of the metaphors on Rosh Hashanah is that God has a book of life. And my biggest prayer for everybody, especially me, I guess, is that I be written in for one more year of life. And so my wish for you when I see you is that you have that blessing too. In the spirit of Rosh Hashanah, what I really wish everyone, both physically present and virtually here, a sense of safety in the world, a sense of health and peace, and that the people that you love and the people you don't know and the people you disagree with can actually experience a world where there's less tumult, where we can actually stand together, hopeful about the year to come. So I wish that for you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Want to welcome you on this special Erev Rosh Hashanah. And you just heard what Rosh Hashanah means per the video, and it's very special to me because I grew up with all those wonderful memories of meeting my grandpa at the synagogue, and it was always very special in our family, and it still is. So I welcome all of you to Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist in Prescott, Arizona. I am Rhea Batterman, your worship associate today. Extend a warm welcome to all. I'm so glad you're able to join us, and I hope everybody is in good health, especially in these crazy times. We want to stay connected, so please join us for the breakout rooms after today's service. If you are joining us for the first time, please check out our website for more information at prescottuu.org. This is the mission statement of our congregation. We are a compassionate, spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the personal and spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promotes justice for all, and serves the world we live in. There are many announcements today. Well, not many, but some. Although we're physically apart and still in community, we continue with some of our meetings and activities via the internet. And now we have people in Davis Hall watching our service today. Isn't that fabulous? So please continue to check your weekly peak, our website, and order of service, and Reverend Patty's videos and announcements for any kind of updates or information. Regarding today's announcement, if you look at the order of service, there's something called COVID boxes that we will be collecting for people in need. So there's many items that are still needed to fill those boxes. And the other big announcement is the update for empty bowls. It has been canceled for downtown at the square, but we're still not exactly sure about exactly how it will be done, but it will be done. So stay tuned and keep checking your emails and announcements. We begin today's service in the Unitarian tradition of lighting the chalice, and in keeping with the tradition of Rosh Hashanah, as I said, which is very dear to me, I have chosen a reading that's written by Kathy Cartwright Chow, excuse me, and it's called A Place to Forgive and Be Forgiven. Pardon me. For those we have hurt in any way, whether through words or deeds or thoughts, here is a place to forgive and be forgiven. For the excuses we have made just to be right, here is the place to forgive and be forgiven. For the blame we have placed on someone again and again, here is the place to be forgiven. For the passing up an opportunity to help because we were afraid, here is the place to be forgiven. For hiding the truth from someone, here is the place to be forgiven. For working beyond anger and resentment, here is the place to be forgiven. For the times I have not felt heard, here is the place to be forgiven. Forgiveness is never easy, whether for yourself or someone else, but here is the place to be forgiven. Oops. Oh, stop. Oops, excuse me. Oh my goodness. I light this chalice, which I could hardly get to. We light this chalice on the brink of the new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may be, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention. And with that, I say, Shana Tova.
Thank you, Ria. And let us all take a deep breath together as we begin something new today. And we have a few little internet problems. So I invite you into a time of meditation. Should the picture stop, the sound stop, or anything untoward happen this morning, use it as a time to meditate. For it is good to be together, and I can't tell you how good it is to see Marge Groman in Davis Hall and Sue Lynch, and I didn't see the rest of the people who've come, but there are people who have not had a chance to be with us for a year and a half. Welcome all. The high holy days are beginning in Jewish communities all over the world, again as last year in many places. These important days are being celebrated differently. Synagogues are being creative as we are in the ways that they can gather. As in our building, a small group of people are gathering finally in Davis Hall. They are sitting at a distance, wearing masks, things we could never have imagined, and I hope are feeling the warmth of this community. For this warmth and for this year that has tested us and shown our strength and creativity and resilience, let us, on this day, right on the brink of Rosh Hashanah, let us begin again together. Let us sing our opening hymn, number 1037, We Begin Again in Love, with our Granite Peak singers.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
For those and for so many acts of evident and subtle which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again.
let us say our covenant together. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together. And today I decided to allow Bruno to speak because he has been investigating how other congregations are doing things, other Unitarian Universalist congregations are doing things around the country, because we are not alone in this pandemic. Just a moment, let me see. I think I'm going to help him take off his mask. Am I not? I'm going to help him take off his mask. Hello, everybody. In my investigations, I have found that there is a congregation that is in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Anybody out there know Eau Claire? Wave your hands, wave your hands. Do you know Eau Claire, Wisconsin? Anyway, it's very nice congregation. And they meet outside once to simply recognize, we are saying recognize with eyes, recognize, wearing mask, but recognize the new baby that comes to the congregation. So, in 2 weeks, I'll take it from here, Bruno. In 2 weeks, we will be welcoming as many, I think we will want to set a limit to 65 people. At Watson Lake, we have reservations. We will be streaming that service for those of you who do not attend, but we will be welcoming Clara Rose into our congregation at that time. You will be able to see Clara Rose, and we will also be welcoming our new members. And it's all because Bruno did research on the internet. Thank you, Bruno. Would you like to thank him as well? He's very, very happy. He loves Watson Lake, especially kayaking. You'd think that rodents would be afraid of water, but he is not. And now let us take a breath together. And I will ring the peace bowl once again, now to enter that time of community, that time when we consider all that is on our hearts and minds. Let us breathe together and find your center, that place within you, that place that poets have called the turning point, the still point of the turning world. Feel the feet. Feel your feet below you on the floor and the earth that stretches below down to the fiery core. And now I invite you to consider the beautiful Prescott sky above you, or the Chino Valley sky, this beautiful Arizona sky with clouds that keep changing shape. Let us imagine that huge, huge sky, and then up into the universe where you could touch the stars. Each of us today is bringing joys and sorrows with us. We carry them even when we don't know it. We carry them into our times of community. We hold together the people of Afghanistan. We hold those who have lost family in the terrible hurricanes. We ask for those who are mourning to have comfort. We ask for comfort for those two who are searching for missing loved ones. We also hold the people of this community who worked so hard on empty bowls and had to make that difficult decision to cancel and do something different when they had worked so hard to plan. And also, since I was last with you 2 weeks ago, we have lost Richard Moorer. Peacefully, we have lost him, and we will miss him. We also have the joy that Karen Denny continues to recover well from her back surgery. Let us especially this week hold Karen Anderson, who will be entering a time of reconstructive surgery. Let us hold all those who are living with challenges. Judy Davis, who I believe is joining us. Her room has no sign of flooding now. And Tim Schirkenbach, who continues to heal. Let us hold Ed Rosage, Eunice Lovejoy, Janer Eldridge, and Peter Eldridge, Bob and Marilyn Coulter, Jack Stanton, Ainsley O'Donnell and Hokulani, Karen and Merle Hagberg, Pocahontas and Jean Gertler. I received a message from Pocahontas last night, and she and Jean are doing well in their new situation in the East. I hold all of us who have felt isolated. I invite you into 2 minutes of silence, after which I will offer a meditation and prayer. I invite you as we begin this silence to say the names of those who are on your hearts and minds. Spirit of life, we are here, some of us after a very long time of not being able to join in services. We ask for accompaniment, for continued accompaniment during these times, for comfort. We especially extend ourselves to the people of Afghanistan, to all those who are suffering, who are contacting this new variant, who are feeling isolated in this county and in counties all over this country. May we find ways to reach out and bring comfort to this world. Amen, and may it be so. And now I invite you to sing with Russ and Lena, Walking, Walking with You.
Walking with you, walking with you is my prayer.
Hello again. Wasn't it great seeing Bruno? Love him. This is the time in our service when we normally gather the offering. Let us embrace the feeling of connection and community that we have when we gather each week. Let us remember that our congregation and its programs are supported by your generosity. So please remember that. That's really important. During the month of September, our recipient is Arizona Family Health Services, which is a private nonprofit organization. And they have many, many advocates during these challenging times. And we will watch a video with Marianne Erickson explaining more at this time.
Good morning, Granite Peak members and friends. My duty today is to give information about our September Seeds of Support recipient, the Arizona Family Health Partnership. Since 1974, this organization has coordinated reproductive health services throughout Arizona, including in our 3 community health centers in Yavapai County, in Prescott and Prescott Valley and Cottonwood. Their aim has been to reach those people who have the least resources and the least access to health care and perhaps the most reluctancy to seek health care. In addition, the Arizona Family Health Partnership provides advocacy services for organizations like UU Jazz and for volunteers like myself who wish to influence healthcare policy in the state of Arizona, as well as in local school boards, to support comprehensive health education to be available on an opt-out basis for all children in our public schools. So please reach generously into your pockets or your checkbook and or your mouse and send some funds to the Arizona Family Health Partnership, because the work they do helps to save lives, helps to promote the high school graduation and to postpone parenthood until it is affordable for Arizona residents. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you, Marianne. To give during this distant time, please go to prescottuu.org, and on the bottom of the left-hand side, click the word donate to contribute. The link is also available in today's chat, and I hope everybody really digs deep for this. Now, please enjoy a musical interlude, and again, Shana Tova to everybody. Happy New Year.
Shana Tova, Ria. As we enter the high holidays of the Jewish faith, we think it is the year 2021, which is an unbelievable year to me still. And the Jewish calendar is marking this year as 5782. Let us listen to the possibilities of such a year as this. On Friday morning, I woke up remembering that I didn't have my pen, a special fountain pen that I had just received from Mary Lou, and I wondered if I had left it at our Granite Peak building after a meeting with US vets the afternoon before. So instead of our usual early morning walk around the neighborhood, we piled Louis in our car and took him down those well-traveled roads to our building. My pen was there. And I was happy to discover that Francini had been there with a couple of families the night before getting our non-perishable supplies. Happy, I hate to lose things, we decided to give Louis a treat and walk him around the courthouse square. As we circled to get a parking lot that wouldn't be too hard to back out of, some of those parking spaces are really hard. Louis started to make that whining sound that he makes on those rare occasions when he really wants to get out of the car. He does it if we ever get near a large body of salty water, and when we get near Courthouse Square. He goes, that is hands down his favorite place to walk ever. He makes a beeline for every single tree and fire hydrant for a sniff. For a whole year, we haven't visited the square more than 3 or 4 times, partly because we were in the middle of a pandemic and didn't like to see people without masks or the trucks with flags, or feel my own memories of that day, September 4th, 2020. That was the day, for those of you who are new to us, when there was a Black Lives Matter rally, and I ended up being in the front of the line with another pastor from the United Methodists. And there were hundreds of people with guns who showed up at that square. That was when many of us heard and saw things that we wish we hadn't. People telling us to go home, that this place was not our home. And this week felt different. Elections, both national and local, have encouraged us. And now that I'm vaccinated, I still wear a mask and encourage you to do so. And I feel a little less concerned about the mask-wearing inclinations of people who are at a distance from me outside. During the year, it had helped me to have some conversations with the chief of police in Prescott, Deborah Black, who unfortunately retired in February. She told me about the misinformation and fears of those people who had brought guns to protect the square and the downtown. Misinformation on Facebook and other media had made people think that busloads of people were coming from out of town, Antifa, who would destroy downtown Prescott. They were called upon, those people with the guns, they were called upon by people they trusted to protect Prescott and our beautiful downtown. That is a wonderful place of historical architecture and local businesses, a place that attracted me to becoming the minister here. For Jewish communities around the world, this is the beginning of the high holy days, when people create a clean slate for the new year. During this time, people think of all that has gone on that they don't want to carry forward with them. This is a time to think of the ways we have failed and others have failed us, and to forgive. Without forgiveness, we cannot begin again. If you have been in a long relationship, you know that's true, whether it's a friendship or a love relationship. Although, which are also love relationships, but I think you know what I mean. Although I imagine that you have seen, as I have, couples who've been together a long time and they haven't done that work of beginning again. We see it in the way they treat each other, taking opportunities to pick at each other or demean each other, making for a very uncomfortable day. That kind of behavior is what happens when you don't either leave the relationship, which can be the very best option, or do the work of beginning again. Forgiving is one of the largest obstacles to our happiness. If you were born in a Christian or Jewish ethic, as I was, then it is difficult, almost impossible, to be truly happy if you are withholding forgiveness from someone, if you are unable to forgive. And I believe I know I am equally unhappy when someone is unable to forgive me. In our opening song, we sang about forgiving others and ourselves. Chances are, if you have trouble forgiving others, you also have trouble forgiving yourself, and vice versa. That is pretty miserable. This matter of forgiveness can be a life work. I have found Brené Brown's book on the gifts of imperfection useful in my own journey towards forgiveness. And I invite you to read that if that is a hard thing for you. At that first meal of Rosh Hashanah, a pot of honey, as you saw in that first video, is passed around the table, and one by one, people dip pieces of apple into the honey with a blessing. May the year be sweet like this. The high holy days are entered with sweetness and good wishes for one another and for ourselves. Together we begin again. If you think of beginning again, I wonder, is there any unfinished business that you need to do? Is there someone you need to forgive? Do you need to forgive yourself? What does forgiveness look like? Does it mean sitting down with someone and telling them about the hurt about what hurt you, or about what hurt you, or about what hurt you might have caused? Preparing for this sermon, I came to realize that in my relationships with people, often what I have seen as a process of forgiveness simply wasn't possible. For me, forgiveness is a process of sitting down with someone, talking things over, explaining, apologizing. In some cases, when we can just even do a part of that, the air clears. Perhaps that is what forgiveness feels like, a kind of clearing of the air. Often, though, sitting down to talk with someone about something that happened can cause more pain and may harm the relationship further. And sometimes the person we need to forgive, or whose forgiveness we desire, is no longer on this earth, or would have no idea what we were talking about, leaving us with a one-sided process of forgiveness. Often people say that they can forgive, but they can't forget, as if forgiving is the important work. I have begun to wonder if forgetting isn't underrated. If we are able to forget the wrongs that someone did to us, isn't that a gift comparable to forgiveness? I would love to just simply forget the times that I have failed myself and others. If you have something that you would love to forgive in yourself or others, why don't you consider forgetting? When I did something that hurt my Japanese teacher, we sat together and talked. And then she said, "Let's throw it in the river." All the rivers around us would have taken whatever it was, and I can't remember what it was, to the sea and then beyond. She was saying to me, "Let's forget. I am willing to forget." I wonder what we are all willing to forget. I'm not talking about the abuse that we must move away from or grapple with in use therapy. I'm talking about everyday hurts that arise in human relationship, things that feel hurtful to us, that seem difficult to talk about the junior high school teacher who shamed us all those years ago and now is probably dead, the physician who didn't listen to us, the great-grandmother who told us that our real job on earth was having babies, the man with the political sign we didn't agree with who cut us off on the highway, the many emails we wrote to people that received no response. That has been a real phenomenon during this pandemic. So I hope those of you who have experienced that find a way to forget and forgive. Because we can't air those hurts with the person involved. Because we can't, we often end up dragging them around with us year after year. I wonder, could we take this time when Jewish communities are preparing for the new year, to consider forgetting the little and big slights that we carry with us that keep us from beginning again? Could we do this with the people we love and with strangers? As the feast before Rosh Hashanah begins, people who have spent the year together and friends all sit around a table. And instead of having a serious conversation about what went wrong during the year, the holy days begin with passing around honey for each person to dip a piece of apple and wish each other a sweet coming new year. Starting in this way, before the more soul-searching rituals of Yom Kippur, they are affirming the importance of this act of gathering and sharing food. In the smiling and good wishes, they seem to be putting aside possible differences and beginning anew. Sometimes finding a way to smile with someone with whom we have had difficulties is a way of saying without words, whatever happened, staying in relationship with you is more important to me. It is a step on the way to forgetting and forgiving and beginning again. I want to begin again on that courthouse square. I don't think that I will have a chance to talk with the people who were there with guns, telling me to go home. I don't know if they were from out of town or what information they had that made them hate the people who were marching, that made them hate me. I want to forget that time because there was another time earlier in the year, in June, when people remained civil and there was such transparency with the planning of the march that there wasn't room for the lies that had fueled the anti-demonstrators in September. I want to remember that time when we knelt on the grass in silence, not interrupted, remembering George Floyd's life. I want to keep the memories of all the vigils that were peaceful, when together we prayed for peace or mourned the loss of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or the many victims of an airplane accident, or the loss of lives in war. On September 21st, the Prescott Peace Builders are creating an event at the plaza to affirm peace. They have invited the Granite Peak Singers to sing, and we will be wearing masks. Together, we will be creating new memories. I've also decided to make Louis happy and take a weekly walk around the plaza, greeting people, passing the time of day. I'll let you know how this process goes. I wonder if this could be part of that work of forgetting. How do you want to spend this year? Could part of it be creating new memories at the plaza to replace those old ones? This year, 5782 is special, a year of Shabbat. This is a year to repair and renew our relationships with each other, our neighbors, ourselves, with the divine presence, the silence, the universe, the stars. May we put aside what we no longer need. May we be granted the healing power of forgiveness and/or the grace of forgetting. For doing that work, we will be ready to begin again. We will be ready for the challenges that will come. We will be nimble for what lies ahead, for more chances to live out our values and make good trouble in Yavapai County. May this year be sweet like apples dipped in honey. Amen, and may it be so. And now, please join me and many singers in Jerusalem singing Hine Matov.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לילה 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 לילה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לילה 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 לילה. It's like precious oil flowing down the beard of our from the top of his head to the edge of his robe. Hine matov, hine matov, hine matov umanayim, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה matov umanayim, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה matov, הנה matov, like the dew of Hermon descending on the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded blessing, life forevermore. Hine matov, hine matov umanayim, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה matov umanayim, שבת אחים גם יחד.
It is good to be together as we face the unknown of another year with more chances for creativity and resilience. May we travel into it without the heavy bags of resentment and memories of being insulted and misunderstood. May we do the work of forgiveness and forgetting and leave those bags by the side of the road and walk with light steps, ready for the adventures that lie ahead, unencumbered, free. May this year be sweet, like apples dipped in honey. And now we will extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now please wait for the sign that you can join a breakout room, and I'm going to go to Davis Hall where we have our very own breakout room. I look forward to seeing all of you next week. Much love. Bye.